Did you know that we got heroes in our midst? Happy Veterans Day. I love these holidays, don't you? I love it because they're about men and women who have bravely faced the battles, made the ultimate sacrifices, walked through fear, believing their actions would create a lasting change for those they love. At the core of these heroes and veterans lies this profound love for country, love for God, love for their comrades, and love for their family. Jesus said, "Greater love is no one than this, that someone would lay down his life for his friends." John 15:13. So who are the heroes in your family story? Who can you honor this Veterans Day that encourages you to embody that same love and service in your own life? Please share any family story you might have at the end of this devotional. I would love to hear from you. This Veterans Day, I want to honor 3 remarkable men who served our country and my family. I got to have 2 dads and a grandpa who instilled a profound foundation of courage in my heart, inspiring me to do the same for my children and now my grandchildren. I got 13 and 1 more is on the way. First, I want to just thank my stepdad who's in heaven, who married my mom just after a year of my birth. I was 1 year old, and he embraced fatherhood. And that's a big thing back then to father somebody else's son, following the tragic loss of my dad, who crashed his fighter jet on May the 29th, 1956. He taught me how to confront my fears. We weren't allowed to be afraid there. Stand tall, face the giants that challenged me. He pushed me past my fears. I'm so deeply grateful for his unwavering love, his powerful example that he set. As a Navy commander in the U.S. Navy, the USS Tyrannyfish was his boat, submarine down in Key West, Florida. Next was my grandpa, Rear Admiral Walter C. Ford. He ignited a passion for problem solving in me. He was a tremendous thinker, a beautiful mind. He also told stories of how God showed up during the most intense military battles. He had this quiet faith in Jesus that gave him the courage to never give up. He was an amazing tennis player and would have gone to Wimbledon, but Pearl Harbor happened, and he was sent back to his squadron. He led that destroyer group to a victory against the Japanese Navy at Coral Sea, and was given the Bronze Star for the incredible courage that they had against a superior Japanese Navy, which ultimately contributed to the defeat that they had at Midway and the end of the war. His example still installs hope that in Christ, anything is possible. His line was, "Don't ever, ever, ever give up, son." So good. And finally, I want to honor my father, Lieutenant Junior Grade Ed Tandy, fearless test pilot. You needed to be if you're a test pilot back in those days. And during a critical test flight, his engine began to overheat, his oxygen system started to fail, and he was in a spiral down, crashing towards Monterey beaches in Monterey, California. And he had to make a split-second decision. He had 2 choices: eject and save himself, sending the plane spiraling out of control into the ground, or to stay in the cockpit and help control the descent and turn it back into the sea. It was Memorial Day weekend, 1956, and the beaches were filled with people, not knowing it wasn't an air show. It was an ending of a life of a hero. And he chose not to eject out of the plane and returned his plane into sea to save those on the beach. His last words from his headset were, "This is November Papa 88. Taking it in," his call sign. Moments later, the radio fell silent as his plane plunged into the deep waters of Monterey Bay. There were reports from the beach. People saw the bravery that he had as he turned his plane at the last minute. The night before my father had died, he had been reading the Bible and took out a red pen and circled a single word in a story about Peter that was watching Jesus walking up and down the waves towards him in a boat during a storm. And Peter boldly said, "If it's really you, Jesus, command me to walk on the water with you." Jesus said one thing to him, "Come." My dad took a red pen, circled that word in his Bible. And now 68 years later, after that courageous step of faith, I like my dad and Peter, when he stepped out of the boat, God's calling me as his son also to come and move towards him and trust him, and all of us as well. So who are the heroes in your life? Might be veterans, family members, or just the amazing, extraordinary man called Jesus Christ who died for us, who beckons all of us to give our lives in love to service, maybe in our country for the sake of others, or as a dad or as a grandfather. Is there anything more noble than that? Happy Veterans Day, my friend, and all those who have gone before us, and to those who were brave enough to enlist, pick up a rifle, stand guard, so that we can live the promise of freedom in the United States of America. I honor you this day. I honor you this day. I would also love to hear your stories about those you are honoring. You can email me at pastor_ed@blessingofthefather.com, or just like and respond to this post. Just remember, God's doing something great. You know what he's doing? He wants to make fathers great again. I'm praying for you. The Lord be with you. Ed McGlasson.